Whiterose reflects on her coming out day and the path it put her on, while Elliot finds that letting people in doesn't have to hurt. In fact, sometimes it's all about finding your type of crazy. It's Mr. Robot 403 Forbidden. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of Mr. Robot. So yes, of course, all the spoilers are coming your way. Plus, do want to remind you about our quick jump index system. Right in the description below, we'll have this entire review codified, time-stamped, titleized. You can jump to the end of the review first. You can watch this beginning last. You can watch this review in any order you like. Alright, so third episode of the season, and man, they are still cranking out some goodness. It's always hard with a final season. There's certain levels of expectation. You're waiting for certain things to happen, and God, there's so many episodes in this season. What's going to happen? You can kind of expecting an ending almost at any moment. I don't really know where they're going this season, and yet each episode surprising, engaging, a joy, really, to find. So, yeah. So this episode, 403, Forbidden, obviously, this is a web error we're all very familiar with, probably one of the more common ones. It's basically the internet's way of saying, nuh-uh, you can't come in. It doesn't have to do with authentication. Sometimes it's just you may have had authentication, but your permissions lapsed. Maybe a time went out, or maybe you're trying to get to a place you didn't have authorization for. It could be many different things. But it's pretty much like I said, the internet's, no, you can't look at this error title. And that sort of, again, applies towards many of the things that are happening in this episode. Whether it be Zheng and his forbidden love, or the forbidden act of you know, revealing his true self as a woman, or really more with that, the cultural forbiddenness of his relationship with his lover that ends very tragically, and yet puts him, I think, on the path to change the world that would be good enough to allow them to live together. Also, of course, we have the forbidden access of Elliot getting into the bank accounts, into Cygnus Bank. You aren't authorized, you don't have the key fob, you are forbidden. Even if you might have authorization, you don't have permission now. And of course, really the overlying one is Elliot's personal 403 forbidden, not letting anyone into himself. It's what pain can do. It is isolation. It is often seen as a form of self-protection, and yet, as Mr. Robot himself says, if you push everyone away, what is the point of anything that you do? Why are you here? Why are you doing what you want? You got no one to share it with. So a very apt title for a very interesting episode, both showing a little bit of Zheng's past and Elliot dealing with his pushing away with things, and a very surprising and unexpected turn of events. I love Olivia. I love those scenes. We will get into it more. But yeah, again, these are the things that I really enjoy about the show, when they do amazing stuff that's entirely unexpected and yet totally works and totally plays. God, only 3 episodes in. What are we going to do for the rest of the season? I don't know, but I can't wait. Alright, so let's talk about Zheng, Whiterose's personal past. We, of course, jump back at the beginning of the episode to 1982. A very young Zheng doing first business dealings with IBM. And God, does IBM have no idea what they're getting into. These days, of course, well known that China isn't necessarily the safest place for your intellectual property. Back then, it was just a large emerging market. And of course, IBM's going to want to work into it. Just a beautifully played scene. Always love it when you have Zheng and his lover talking in China, or translator then lover. just talking, of course, Chinese, the whole separate conversations you can do with different languages, I thought was played very nicely. And, of course, really showing, even at this early stage, Zheng's whole purchase is getting what China needs. The whole idea of, you think we're actually going to pay for this stuff? That's so cute. Really, just a fun, great initial setup scene. And, of course, showing Zheng's burgeoning relationship with his translator, someone who we start to find out, obviously, very important to Zheng. Zheng, Whiterose, we know right now, is the time master. Everything is broken down into minutes, seconds between now, what we're doing now, where we have to be, when things have to happen. And yet this is not his trait. This belongs to the man that he loves. He is the timekeeper. He's the one keeping track of when the next meeting is. 2 hours, 3 minutes, we need to go down, we need to do these drinks. So it's a great way not only to set up Zheng, his relationship, what his desires are at that age, but also let us know that something very tragic is about to happen. I have to say, when he was walking out to get drinks and Zheng said, you know, you go ahead, you do it, I'll meet up. Even part of me there thinks that this is going to be the tragic, he's going to go down and get shot, or maybe Zheng needs to kind of protect himself and this is a sacrifice that he's going to regret in the future. Just knew something was going on there. And a simple but still beautiful transition of time through the window, seeing you know, the sun come up and night come up, the sound still of the city, never changing, always the same. A very long time for drinks. I don't think he was supposed to be gone that long. I was really wondering, and again, even walking back in all messed up, I was like, God, what is going to happen here? So again, still expecting this tragedy. And yet we find that this is Whiterose's coming out day. Kind of. Revealing, even to the person closest to him, who he really is. And look, just stunning. Whatever your opinions on sexuality and likes and dislikes, I think we can easily agree. She looked stunning in the dress. And the hair, and the presentation, and the way that it was framed with the mirrors behind. And I mean, it was just a beautiful setup. And we do get to hold that anticipation, that waiting is, with this reveal, is this going to be safe? Is he going to be denied? And we get, you know, the quiet walk up and so on. You're like, oh, is he going to walk past? Is he going to grab his coat and leave? But no, of course. What I wanted to say is, you're beautiful. It's sweet. It shows the connection between these two. And yet, we know that tragedy has to happen. Zheng adopts these acts, these instances of this man because he has lost him. In the following scene, we see exactly how that whole thing happens. And it's really a heartbreaking scene. And we get so much of it. We get the cultural issues that are having to deal with. He's being married off, even though, of course, he's gay, and he doesn't want to be with this woman anyway, but it's the way that society, his father, culture demands. His one desire to hopefully escape to America when Zheng gets named ambassador for the great deal that he does with the IBM. That doesn't happen either. In fact, Zheng did so good of a job, they're going to make him Minister of State Security. A huge step in, of course, the position that he is in now. But that means he can't get away, they can't live the way that they are. And it's just a great scene how we're seeing the kind of back and forth. And I love the lines of doubt when it comes down to it. And it says, you're telling me to be patient. Don't you understand that asking for patience means surrender? That in those eyes, it's never going to happen. And I love how Zheng comes back around with that, of the, I have exposed to you everything about me, my deepest secrets, who I really am. Would I risk losing that? Is that not something we want to hold on to? It's just the tragedy of a culture that can't accept people for who they are. And of course, often that ends very tragically, and here we see the same thing with, you know, the world is never going to be good enough. and it's just harsh. I mean, and even with the joke that he comes in at the beginning with when he says, "Did you get my flowers? They're funeral flowers." Yes, they're beautiful, and it's a funeral kind of your being single and also in some ways of the relationship. But here it ends up being actual funeral flowers, sprayed with blood and everything. It's a very tragic scene. It's very emotional. It's very well played, and it lets us know why Zheng is so motivated to do what she wants to do. Because the world doesn't permit this. So she wants to be powerful and strong enough to make this world be a world where they could be together. Which is why when his shipment comes up, when we flash forward, he says, "I want to wear this dress, my mother's dress, the same dress that he first wore way back when my shipment goes, because then that will be a world that he could create that would be permissible for him. He would be in the position in order to shape that." So we can see, in some ways, this whole relationship has been the birth arc. Because it wasn't until the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 that we saw the Deus group really start forming and creating. So these intervening years was all planning for Zheng. And the world will pay for his losses. Anyway, just a beautiful setup scene that shows us where his whole history and motivation is. And actually, before we move on to the other stories, I do want to finish touching up on the Zheng for now, because we do kind of deal with it a few points here. One, certainly from all the info his assistant has pointed out, the fact that Zheng does not know about Elliot's intrusion with Freddie the lawyer, Freddie Lomax, and his whole connection. They know that somebody broke into Grand Central Security, that Lomax killed himself, and whoever he met with got away, but they don't know that it's Elliot, which means that there was nobody in the hotel, in the honeypot, that works directly with Zheng. They do all work with Price, which also means that Price did intentionally kill Elliot and then bring him back. Not to cover and let Zheng know that somebody was covered up, because apparently nobody revealed any of that information. That's all kept for him. It is all Price's people there. So that whole act really was Price making a statement to Elliot. "I could have got you, but I need you for now." Which, I guess you got to give it up to Price. He's gone through a whole lot. Maybe a little torturing of the people around him is good for him. But it lets us know that Zheng and his people and the Dark Army entirely unaware of all of Elliot's work. They suspect that he's doing something, but they don't know. Also, assistant, no problem talking hard to Zheng with any of these scenes. With Whiterose, for sure. It was just, again, I love the dynamics kind of between the two of them. And of course, letting know, yeah, keep an eye on Elliot, deny Price. But Zheng's a smart man. And I love the kind of switch up of like, no, give Price what he wants. Yeah, tomorrow's Christmas. We'll call the whole people together. He's in a power where he can call 9 of the most powerful people in the world together on Christmas Day with 1 day notice. But you know kind of who Whiterose is. But the idea of let's not wait for them to make a mistake, let's force them into one. Disrupt their timetable. Yeah, they're moving against us. There are no coincidences. Fine. Let's turn it around right on them. Quickly, immediately disrupt them. It's a very smart idea, but I think his assistant is right. You're rushing things. Rushing things are going to prove to be your undoing. But again, it keeps things moving very quickly, which we need as a final season to do. Now, one thing I have been enjoying this season is seeing how the personalities of Elliot and Mr. Robot are sort of switching and melding and moving around. How we're seeing Mr. Robot really becoming that protector, as Darlene calls him, the older brother, protector personality, looking out for Elliot, while Elliot is the one that's sort of backing off and being more harsh. In some ways, very much kind of a switch of where they were in season 1, where it was Mr. Robot that was all about the mission and doing the thing and pushing hard and to heck with everything else, while Elliot was the person who was trying to navigate. I'm just really enjoying those sort of switches, and I like Mr. Robot in this role. And I really love how the duality of them allows that kind of quick and easy interchange using whichever personality is best. We see it greatly in the All Safe scene. Again, love the fact that All Safe is their HQ. It brings it all back around to the beginning, doesn't it? We have Darlene all ready to go. She's supposed to do the break-in. Elliot's supposed to say and do all the SSL security password stuff. But no. Change of plans, going to be more complex. Elliot wants to go. And I love how we do that playback where Elliot's like, no, we're not going to do it. And Darlene's like, yes, I am. And so Elliot's like, can you talk some sense into her? And then Mr. Robot, again, the protective older brother personality, just sort of steps in and kind of talks like reasonable, mild, no, it's protection. Things are going to be complex. We're going to have to adjust. We need to do it. This is the best way. It's a wonderful pass off there. And then, of course, as even that doesn't work, Elliot kind of steps into a newer personality. And I'll try and hit on real quick and towards the end of this about the third personality that was played in last season. I'm not going to go into too much. But I think this is the hardness of that 403 Forbidden. This form, still Elliot, of not letting Darlene go and not having any. Doesn't care, has already lost so much. Now it is all about protecting. And in some ways, it's protecting Darlene. If you're not going to listen to things, then I'll just grab you and force you and make you do this. And there's sort of an interesting realization when Darlene's like, you know, you're never going to change, are you? And Elliot's like, no, I'm not. This is that hard protection. She still does. She still stays. Still a caring sister. But he can't really see that. It's just a wonderfully done scene. And then we get Mr. Robot talking about Elliot and the whole being alone and everything that he has lost. You know, what is the word for it? Orphan, widower, survivor, lost mother, lost father, lost sister, lost girlfriend, lost all your friends. How do you exist through all of this? Mr. Robot, who's still 2 episodes when first started talking to us, all about, I don't care about you. I don't care about anything. I'm just watching for Elliot. Now is the big softy. Now is the voice of reason. It's a wonderful switch of personalities. Even later on, when we get to the first meeting in the bar and we've seen that Olivia's date hasn't shown up, and Elliot is all about, well, we found out she's a user, we found the oxycodone, we'll be able to use that against her. Custody agreement says that if she starts using, she'll lose her kid. We can use that. We can own that. Mr. Robot's like horrified with that. An exact move that he would have suggested 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, now is like the worst thing that you could do. Tries to speak the logic, and then even as Elliot tries to make the move and be harsh, apologize, I'm sorry, you're going to want to sit down, this ready to throw stuff up, Mr. Robot takes control and does the suave bit. I'm going to buy you a drink. I can see that you were just stood up. I'd like to apologize for all of us. It was great, and then hands it right back off to Elliot. All right, you're up. It's just a wonderful switch, an unexpected switch of these personalities. But it's great to see. I think they really orchestrated it really, really nicely. And as for the rest of the Olivia date scenes, I was dreading it when they were starting. The uncomfortableness sitting between the two of them was palpable. Again, beautifully acted, well shot, well framed. Oh, I'm just screaming at the TV. Damn it, Elliot, say something! Anything! And whoa. That whole scene morphed into something really unexpected and really beautiful. Again, we have 2 people who were hurt opening up. I think that was kind of the nicest thing about that. It's just the trading, even of the stupid. It's like finally Elliot sort of says something was later on about being an addict. And she's like, what, do you have any on you? I'm kidding, I'm kidding. You don't expect that response. And I don't think Elliot expects this response. He's not expecting to kind of honestly say something and for someone to not go after him about it. It was the beautiful thing about seeing how that whole scene sort of developed, the little opening up on each side, how she's really trying to be nice and talk, and he can't, and then he says something and she plays off of it. It was a whole kind of beautiful bit. Really was enjoying seeing it. And at the when the guy finally shows up from OK Cupid, isn't this you? No, that's not me. Gives Elliot the perfect, to me that was the great thing. That was that body language stuff that we as guys often totally miss out. Men are oblivious. We miss very obvious signs. We need people to tell us what's going on because we're thinking one thing and reality is saying something else. And we had a perfect shot of this as she stands up. It's like, well, it's getting late, and stops. And you can see the body language is waiting for Elliot to come with her. This is our cover. We're on a date. I'm not the person that you're at. And he just sits there because he can't interact with people. It was just, yeah, another probably uncomfortable moment. Where she's just like, okay, well then I guess I'll just go. I felt so good when he ran out after her. I gotta say, because I wasn't waiting for Mr. Robot. Was like, well, that went better than I thought. I was just expecting him to be like, what are you doing? And then he runs after her, and they have their moment, and it's just, it was nice. He needed that. He did. And she needed that. And it was wonderful to see. And it leads us to our Scene of the Week for this week. And that is the subsequent bathroom scene. And it's not a big scene. There are a lot of other very nice scenes, a little action that are kind of fun. There was even... But there was such a nice transition that happens into this. Because even though Elliot has, you know, connected, he's still all business. As soon as he wakes up, it's about grabbing the key fob and getting in the bathroom and finding a place and doing the thing and sending the text to his sister, who's still, Darlene is still there waiting to work. She's got his back. Still about the work. But of course, Olivia wakes up and knocks and you spill, and it just becomes such a lovely scene of just completely opening up to someone, of just taking that risk, where she talks about her mother being killed, being murdered, and the hard time that she had given her father was because of the oxycodone that she takes. She got into heroin addiction. Why? Because everything hurt, and then one day somebody gave her a pill and it didn't hurt as bad. And sometimes this is just how unfortunate stuff starts. And that inside the prescription bottle is a razor blade. If I'm ever going to use it again, I might as well kill myself. There's such a harsh honesty in that. And of course, Elliot had unexpectedly been honest, just a clumsy way, with the night before. But here it's that really opening up bit. Elliot talking about, well, I stopped using. Well, I mean, this was in the bar before. I stopped using except for 2 days ago. It's been 9 months, except for 2 days ago. But, you know, that wasn't my fault. I still haven't done it. When somebody holds you down and forces you to take it, yeah. Again, this is the opening. This is that she is seen and now is willing to kind of have that bareness himself. And suddenly Elliot can find that here's somebody that he can really connect with, that he can be honest with. That's his kind of crazy. And really, that's it. We're all a little crazy. You just want to find the type of person that's your kind of crazy. And I think Elliot did here. And there was just such an honest moment. And there was just such a switch in Elliot of finally releasing that 403 forbidden code and allowing somebody in. What did Mr. Robot say afterwards? Who would have known? It would have been Olivia that would have broke through his 403 forbidden code. It was just, we haven't seen Elliot have this type of habit, have this type of connection. I don't know if ever, even from his girlfriend back in season 1, they kind of so messed him up. I don't think we saw this kind of honesty. And it's just sort of a nice leave. Well, there's a lot more crazy like that where he came from, but maybe that's enough for tonight. It's just a sweet way of wrapping it all up. And Vera. Nice scene with Vera. Still doing the work, still pushing drugs, different kind of way though. Stuffed up in chicken, sending the kids out. Why are kids always delivery people? Always delivery for drugs. You don't expect the little kids to be running this stuff, I guess. So up to his whole thing, but looking to recruit Elliot, not as a prisoner, but as a partner. An architect like that, a visionary like that, deserves more. It was a whole nice scene. I mean, it was fun. There's not really a whole lot to talk about. It's just Vera being Vera, his informant being an idiot, and not being able to see or recognize anything or remember anything. A great bit when he does bring the kid up and he shows him the picture. The kid's like, yeah, man, she said something to him, made him sad like my mom said to me. And she doesn't like it. It's like, okay. Blam! Why does this kid know more than you do? I need someone who's more detail-oriented. But of course, who's he looking at is the encounter with Krista and Elliot. By the way, do want to say, beautiful overhead shot, tracking shot we got when we stopped from Zheng's story and jumped into Elliot's, watching him walk along and the camera tracking the overhead and then tilting down into that encounter with Krista. Just a beautifully done shot. And again, not a whole lot here with Krista. Obviously, she knows more about Mr. Robot and Elliot and all that than she wants to know and wants nothing to do with him. And, hey man, at least Elliot just got it and walked away. Appreciate him at least saying, I just want to say thank you, you really helped me. I'm not saying we have to be docs, but come on, what does he really expect from her? But what we're really seeing with all of this here is the future complications, because, of course, Vera can see from the look on the face and from the little kid says that, obviously, Krista hurt Elliot. And more to the point, Krista said something to Elliot that affected him. And for Vera, who wants to kind of connect with Elliot, that is information that he wants to know. Is he going to kill Krista to try and get to Elliot as a way of like, this person that hurt you, I took care of it? Or is it really going to be more along the lines of, he's going to find out about the whole Mr. Robot and possible Dark Army and the whole hacking thing, and realize, well, I mean, he already knows how important and smart and visionary that Elliot is. But all that information, you know, is only going to complicate things. So, as much as I kind of enjoyed the Vera scene of just him using fancy language and being upset that his workers can't really, you know, pay attention to anything or observe anything or recite anything outside of the kids, this is just the complication. This is just one of those unexpected moments. In some ways, while Olivia's going to be an unexpected connection that might help Elliot down the road, hey, people do think a lot of the crazy things for love. Just saying. Vera is going to be the obvious thorn in the side, the unexpected, problematic interaction, which is probably just going to mess Elliot up, but who knows, if he plays his cards right, maybe it could be an unexpected weapon against Whiterose. Doubtful, but, you know, could be. And, of course, as the episode ends, we have Elliot on a bit of a high. He's connected with another person, just had a little... you know, feeling good. Maybe a little empowered to restart this hack. But of course, danger is all around him. Certainly being followed. Possible Dark Army. Well, what do? You act like nothing's gone wrong. Even when somebody has obviously broken into your apartment. What do? They're outside, they're inside. You gotta just keep acting like nothing's gone wrong. So a bit of a relief, maybe, that it's Tyrell Wellick waiting inside with the good news that he's just been named CEO, or will be named CEO of E-Core. Everything they have wanted, they have been patient, they have been waiting. This is their time to strike. But of course, Tyrell is an idiot. and he just blurts all of this out, despite Elliot really trying to get him to shut up. They're listening. But are they? I mean, obviously we feel that this is the Dark Army in the van following. We know that Zheng has ordered to Elliot to be kept an eye on, and his assistant certainly not very happy with Mr. Alderson. Mr. Alderson. Sorry, it always makes me think of the Matrix when I say that. So yeah, very easy to think that this is Dark Army spying on them. But it could also be Vera, because Vera wants Elliot on his side. He could be keeping an eye. He could have other people watching and following Elliot to try and get more information. So we have a couple of possibilities that this could be. And of course, just because they're being followed by Dark Army doesn't mean that they've got the microphones already up in his place. I mean, why follow him like that if you already have the place sort of staked out? Wouldn't it be smarter to just sort of drive off and then have whoever is doing the stake out of the apartment there? Dark Army's kind of smart. So it's a nice high and low. Obviously, we know that we're glad that Wellick's there, and he's all excited about finally being able to do his the big plan to strike down Dark Army and Whiterose. But he may have just given it all away. So, kind of a perfect place to leave us in questioning a perfect little cliffhanger till next episode. Alright, I think we'll just go ahead and wrap things up then for now. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me with these reviews. A lot more episodes to go forward with, a lot more conflicts happening. They're definitely, it's like, I think it is, it's like one day an episode seems to be kind of the pattern that they're running through. So tomorrow, or next week, it's Christmas! And we'll have the whole price meeting and everything. And of course, some definitely walking in the woods and complications with Tyrell and all that. It may all just collapse right in front of them right before they get it. I love the tension. Anyway, we'll find out more about that next week. Thank you again for joining me. And if you enjoyed this review, please go ahead and hit that like button. Thoughts, ideas, and comments, throw those down in the section below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your philosophies. Let me know your plans. Let me know what you're thinking, who you think might be it, and where we think we might be going. Also, do you like Olivia? Let me know. Throw your thoughts down in the section below. You can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Darren Jakes. I'm going to also throw out a quick subscription request. We have a longtime viewer, supporter, Rob over at Smirking Gun Reviews. Really a great guy, another fan just trying to share his viewpoints and ideas and thoughts on some great shows. So if you don't know Rob, why don't you guys go over to Smirking Gun Reviews and hit his subscribe button. Check out his stuff. We want to boost his numbers up. Again, he's a guy that wants to share his love of shows. And I think we deserve to kind of boost him at least up over 1,000 subscribers. So come on, guys! If you're watching this, go check out Rob at Smirking Gun Reviews right here on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. And while you're doing it, you can hit this subscribe button too right here. Catch all these reviews. This show, Walking Dead, Mandalorian next month. Don't miss any of them. And we'll throw up a couple of our latest right here for you to check out. So, that's going to be it for me. I'm D, and I'm out of here. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.